Hi there, Steve from Portside. I've got the Bait Shop convenience store off sale liquor 1 mile north of Isle, right on Highway 47 on the shores of Lake Mille Lacs. Please like and share my videos, and the following, especially this one, is my opinion. So I'm not fact-based, I'm opinion-based, I've been told, which is just fine. I am going to discuss a couple of questions that were asked on one of the other videos. One of the questions was, is the MILFAC meetings, which is Mille Lacs Lake Fisheries Advisory Committee, open to the public? The answer is yes. We've had virtual meetings for quite some time, but if you watch the Mille Lacs Lake DNR website, they usually announce them. Whether they are virtual, they'll show you how to get in on the meeting to listen. And if we do have them in person, yes, there is a live audience normally allowed. So I'm assuming going forward when we have another one in person that they will allow the public, which is good. I'm always happy to have them there. Another question that was brought up was, as far as the management of the lake, do the bands have a management agreement between themselves? There's 8 tribes involved with this, as well as the state of Minnesota. Simple answer to your question, none of us know. They keep that to themselves. So basically we have 2 entities that are negotiating. There is GLFWC, which is the Great Lakes Fisheries Indian Wildlife Council, I believe that's what it is. They represent the 8 bands. And then you have the Minnesota DNR, which is sitting on the other side of the table. So the bands are represented by a single entity, and Minnesota is also has one entity on at the table. So as far as, is there an agreement between those 8 bands? I am aware of some poundage agreements, none of which I've seen on paper, but I've heard, and that kind of is what it is. Again, it's kind of a unknown territory as far as that goes. We aren't privy to much of that in any way, shape, or form. So that's welcome to the management of Mille Lacs Lake. That's how it works. Okay. So I'm going to go into the lawsuit that the Mille Lacs band has on the county. I'm going to give you some rough opinions. I'm going to give you some rough dates. If you want to know more about this, then do your research. I've done some research, and I've talked to people, and I have a pretty well, of course, I have a formed opinion on it, but I will go through kind of the time frame and how it came about and where it's at. I'll do my best to explain this, because there is complete ignorance out there, because there really hasn't been that much information put out for the general public, or at least in layman's terms. So we're dealing with the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, which is a Chippewa tribe, and we're also dealing with the state of Minnesota, the federal government, and the county of Mille Lacs Lake. So with all those entities being mixed in that bag, here's how it kind of started. Back in 2016, there was a law enforcement agreement between the Mille Lacs Band and Mille Lacs County law enforcement, the sheriff, and they shared duties. They had an agreement. It was on paper, and when there were issues, they were allowed to raise the issues, and they go into contract negotiations, which are also called dispute resolutions. The county took that route because there were issues with the agreement, and then the county apparently was not satisfied with that, so they stopped the agreement that they had between the Mille Lacs Band and Mille Lacs County Sheriff. At some point after that, the Mille Lacs Band put a federal lawsuit against Mille Lacs County, against the county attorney, and against the sheriff of Mille Lacs County. So Mille Lacs County was served papers. They're being sued. I mean, that's what it is. So up until today, right now, the Mille Lacs County has simply defended itself. I mean, that's where the money's been going, and I think most people can agree. Many don't understand, but when you're served a lawsuit, you have 2 choices. You can throw in the towel and say, okay, or you can fight it. And that's where Mille Lacs County's been doing. It was not on their end to do the suing or the lawsuit. It came at them, and they've been fighting it ever since. The the lawsuit was over the law enforcement agreement, and then it also came in the boundaries of the reservation came into that, because the dispute also included geographical areas and authority within those areas, and those areas needed to be defined. That's a pretty simple way to put it. So they had an agreement, it was in a defined area, and when the lawsuit came up, those areas came into question, and they are involved in the lawsuit as far as the boundaries. So that's kind of how the reservation boundaries got into the lawsuit. All right. Very convoluted, but that's basically how it is. We had a federal judge that has put in a summary judgment for both issues, and that's the agreement plus the boundaries. So we've had a federal judge that has sided with the tribe, and the county then has the right to appeal that and keep pushing it forward. And that's what I believe they're going to do. It hasn't been publicized yet. I don't know, but it's an assumption and an opinion on my part that we all need an answer on this stuff. We've taken it too far. It's cost the county a lot of money, which I can also get into, because everybody's property taxes up here have gone up. But if you go statewide and you look at property values, property taxes, and you can go nationwide, it's all going up. Mille Lacs County is no different than other counties. It's ridiculous how high some of the increases have been. It's a formula that's also based on property values, and with the influx of people that have been coming up here, our property values are much higher than they were. In fact, I think we're up about 24% in 2 years. That's significant. There's not a lot of property for sale up here, so a lot of people came in, and it's just kind of a wave reaction, and it's happening in a lot of areas of the United States. When people relocate, it brings up property values, and then that formula kicks in, and you end up paying more taxes as well. When I look at the amount is about $7 or $8 million that Mille Lacs County has spent since 2016. It actually comes to about 3% of the annual budget. So Mille Lacs County having about $40 million a year in budget, and the lawsuit takes about 3% of that. And if you look at those numbers, you think, 3% ain't bad, but it does add up, especially when it's not planned for and not in the regular budget. So they've been trying to make up for it, and again, it kind of stings, but my opinion, again, we all need an answer on this, and that would be good, because we just need an answer. That's as simple as I can put it. So far the county to date has defended itself. I'm assuming that they are going to appeal it, and then it goes on to their and eventually may end up in the Supreme Court, where a lot of the treaty tribal versus state stuff ends up, and then the final opinion is given down at that point. So that's all I got. I hope that answers a little bit of questions on that lawsuit. If you got any other questions that you'd like, put them down in the comments. I'll try and cover them. That's all. Use your blinker. We'll see you.